Hi, everyone. Welcome to Back to School Night, September 2020, the year of the pandemic.
It's Mrs. Cancilla and Mrs. Savas. Welcome back.
We're here to tell you a little bit about our classrooms.
So this is our team, as you know us. Mrs. Cancilla teaches math and science. Mrs. Savas teaches ELA and social studies.
Mrs. Savas with her finger pointing at the children, and yes, they are doing a great job reading as they've been doing in school. Me, I'm all about fun. Let's have some fun in school. This is a little bit about myself, and if you had a chance, you saw my Bitmoji classroom. You know, this is my daughter Alexis. This is my family. This is my crazy dog Stella. She gets 2 slides, and this is my daughter Sarah.
I love the picture of her swimming. I love that
Stella
picture.
is crazy.
This is a little slide about me. I've sent you some pictures, so I just put the one in the middle of my family with my husband and my 2 daughters. Mira is next to my husband and Layla's on the other side. I'm actually from Vineland. I grew up in South Jersey. I've taught for 15 years. This is my 7th year in Swedesboro Woolwich. I currently live in Moloka Hill with my husband, as you can see, and my 2 daughters. You're there.
You can always reach us at any time. The best way is probably through email, and I think we've been doing a good job communicating
Yes.
with one another, and we always check our emails and as best as we can during the day. Probably a quick way for the kids to reach us is through a private chat.
Yes, and Google Classroom has really been a wonderful tool for students to reach out to us. And we definitely, wanted to mention, if possible, and you have been doing this for parents, to send us an email, whereas your child, if they need to communicate with us, that's through Google Classroom. And thank you. That is what we've been doing, and it's been going really well. And yeah, we did mention if you send a message through Dojo, just keep in mind we may not see it right away if we didn't answer you, so send an email if you can.
And Dojo is at rest for now. We will start sending pictures eventually as soon as we have all the technology and things and the live classrooms figured out. So stay tuned for more on Dojo. Oh, this is a little bit about our teaching philosophy. We like to foster independence, responsibility, and organization. At this point, they're in 4th graders. They're almost getting ready for 5th grade, and they need to be responsible for their belongings and things. They need to know where their homework is and where their supplies are, and to kind of stay on top of things. And we would like to create and motivate lifelong learners, so they're always having fun and learning more.
And they're definitely still learning in a social environment. Of course, things look different physically this year, but Mrs. Cancel and I are making an effort to make sure that they are still interacting in the classroom and virtually through the computer screen. We've found different ways to make those connections to make sure that they are learning in a social and meaningful way where they're actively engaged. So I do really feel that we feel that's been successful.
And one of the keys is for us to always communicate, because we are a team, we are a family, and we work together. So as long as our communication paths are open, the year will go very smoothly.
For a snack, as you know, we have a daily snack. So just be sure to send in a healthy choice. Remember to send a spoon or a fork if needed, and children are encouraged to bring their water bottles every day.
Yeah, and let's keep it to water, not the Gatorades or the juice boxes, because then if they spill, it causes a little bit of a mess. And water is the most.
Water's easier.
Water is easier, and it hydrates very well.
Yes, it does. This is our in-school schedule for cohorts A and B. From 8:15 to 8:30, we're arriving. That's homeroom. Then 8:30 to 10:30 is their time with their homeroom teachers. So for my class, we're doing language arts for Mrs. Cancel and social studies. For Mrs. Cancel's class, they're doing math and science. Then as Mrs. Cancel and I are switching, they have their snack. and then we switch. So then it's their time with either one of us to either do language arts, social studies, or math and science, and dismissal is 12:35.
And then when they go home, there's an extension. There's usually a homework assignment or two that they would hand in or bring back to school the next day. So the day doesn't end at 12:30. They're expected to also go home and do some work as well.
Yes, and we have our afternoon sessions with them virtually, and we do want them to log on. That's very important. I mean, that's a connection we're making. As Mrs. Cancilla just said, it is still their school day when they go home. So we want to make sure we have that connection with them in the afternoon.
Wednesdays. Wednesdays is the special day, but first you should log into your ELA and math classroom and they could do the daily check-in. And then they will do their specials. There will also be meetings with us on Wednesdays. And
So, yes, and you should make sure you're checking Google Classroom for math, science, for language arts, and social studies. And we will have lighter review days so that they on a Wednesday, so that they do have time for their specials. But we will also have our virtual meetings on a Wednesday.
for your at-home learning days, and you guys have been doing a great job with this. Make sure they log and complete the work by 8 p.m. So your deadline to have everything done is by 8 p.m. Make sure you fill out your daily check-in form. If you have comments, please submit them privately in the private comments. And then make sure, top priority, attend your live sessions and your afternoon meetings.
This is just to remind us, and we've been doing a great job with this. For our virtual meetings, we want the kids to come ready to work, to have good manners. They are doing a nice job. Sometimes maybe getting a little silly in the chat, so sometimes we're reminding them to stay focused. But they are really overall doing a really very, very nice professional job of attending their virtual meetings and participating and being engaged. So we're very proud of them. This is just to remind you, I have started morning meetings. And as Mrs. Cancel and I have explained, the children who are 100% virtual are not required to attend because they need to get ready for their math lesson at that time with Ms. Cancilla. So it is for my homeroom, but I have told Mrs. Cancilla's homeroom that they can join in. That's fine. It just gives them a jump start with language arts. So it's really fine. I wanted to make sure I wasn't overloading the Google Meet, but it's working fine. So as I'm pointing out here, it's the purple banner at the top of Google Classroom to go ahead and click on that Google Meet link, and the kids know where it is. That's the same link for morning meetings every day. And this just gives you some background information about language arts. We're working with McGraw-Hill Wonders for reading. It's a really strong foundation for literacy. I love it. There's tons of complex text. We make text-to-text comparisons when we're going to be working on our race answers. A lot of opportunities for collaborative conversations. We do a lot of citing evidence, which we've already started with this week. And it includes multiple genres, including an increase in nonfiction text for the past several years, because we've been working with Wonders for several years now. New vocabulary is introduced through each literature cycle and studied. It does say each week, so I will say that can be a week to a week and a half. We also have a focus on oral language, which is fantastic. Narrative writing, opinion writing, and informational writing are our three genres for the writing piece this year for fourth grade. I'm really excited because in our third trimester for informational writing, we're actually going to work on writing historical fiction. We're starting out the year with narrative. Second trimester is opinion writing. So it's actually Lucy Calkins. It's a new program, and there's tons of opportunities for the children to interact as writers and grow as writers. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And for social studies, I love social studies, so you can see I'm pretty excited with my Bitmoji. We start the year with math skills, get into also the geography of New Jersey, the colonization of New Jersey, and then do some exploration of changing times in the Industrial Revolution as our country started to really develop, and then we end the year studying the United States government. Also, we will be venturing out into online literature circles starting in October, which works really, really well. It's interesting because even though we were in school for part of the year last year, they were always online. We always used our Chromebooks and did an online Google Doc because there were times when I had a student absent and they could still participate. So when we moved to virtual learning, it flowed very, very nicely. So we choose novels. I will talk to you about looking for online options. I'm giving you some ideas of titles in the middle of the slide, but you'll know specifically what novel your child's reading. It's fun and engaging, and as I said, it's through a shared Google Doc. There will be assignments for each meeting and due dates, and it works really well. Oh, and another important point, in October, we will be starting our 20 book challenge, where we're challenging our students to read 20 books by the end of the year. And we've already spoken to the kids about that, so they know it's coming. They will fill out their own online log to keep track of the books that they're reading. Literature Circle books and Book of the Year will count. They will need to take an accelerated reader quiz when they finish a book and score 70% or higher. If they do score below 70%, they can do an optional book report so that they will still get credit for reading that book. Books that are larger, 200 to 250 pages, would be counted as 2. So more information about that will be coming out for early October.
And we don't mean that to be more work for you. The kids are going to keep track of their own books. The kids know that they should be reading. So if you could just encourage them to read their 20 minutes every night, and that will help them achieve their goal. I have a box of brand new books. One of their prizes will be a brand new book that they'll pick from a bunch of books, and then they can take that book home, and that's theirs. And we're working on some other prizes for them too when they finish their goal.
Homework. Students are expected to complete 20 minutes of reading each night. You'll notice that I've been writing in Google Classroom to read 25 minutes because we're in an advanced setting. So I'm pushing them to go a little bit past 20 minutes, but the requirement for 4th grade is 20 minutes. There will be some vocabulary homework, which I actually sent home tonight. They do have math homework on a daily basis. They have a homework slide in Mrs. Cancilla's Google Classroom, which will be covering all of their homework on a daily basis. So instead of using agendas this year, the actual homework is written down in Google Classroom.
Science. It's my turn. Science, we're going to cover different topics, including environmental science, physical science, and life science, and engineering and design is embedded into all units. I haven't started science yet. Thinking about it next week. I wanted to get everything going with math before we rolled into the science. It will be fun, hands-on activities, and I'll try and make videos for them and do experiments as best as we can in school, and then we'll see how that flows. My goal is to make science interactive and fun. My goal is, yes, I know they've probably talked about building volcanoes, or they've heard we had in the past. Yes, I'm going to try and do that again. And we'll keep it as much as we can as hands-on activities. Math, we've been rolling right along. I would like them to challenge themselves. We're using the Into Math program, and then I also have the grade 5 My Math intertwined when we go up to the 5th grade level to do work. As the kids have seen, we always have a problem of the day and a problem of the week. Usually what I do is I'll introduce the daily skill, then we'll practice it, and then there's homework. We're also going to work on Freckle and Waggle and the Prodigy Online game. We just got our math online program, which we were fiddling with a little bit today. It's just going to take some trial and error until we're used to it. And I believe once we're used to it and the system is flowing, it'll be much easier for kids to submit their work and show me their work so that I can check it and we can talk about it some more. We just have to go with the flow until things are in place. Homework, math. 30 to 45 minutes. It probably shouldn't take that long. And then the homework chart is in the Google Classroom. The kids, it's completed. There'll be notes in there so they can check it. And then we'll just go with that since we don't have an agenda.
This is just some reminders about my Google Classroom. Important morning announcements each day are in the stream. It's very important that the kids read that when they log in the morning, because it will review what is in the classwork tab, and there may be announcements in there for yourselves, for parents. As I said, the Google Meet for morning meetings is in the purple banner. Afternoon Zoom links, at this point right now, I'm finding posting them daily in the stream, but we may adjust to that as definitely as we get into our literature cycle schedule. So I'll probably at that point give them to you ahead of time. But for now, I'm just putting them in the stream on a daily basis. Be sure to remind your kids to click turn in after they finish an assignment. I am definitely seeing a lot of kids that have actually done the work, but they didn't click turn in. And the online morning journal is always due on a Friday, so they don't want to turn that in before Friday.
Should you be out because you're on quarantine, you can join the virtual classroom. We would just send you the live links, or and then you could join in, and then you wouldn't be marked absent on those days. We'll see how that goes when it happens, but let's hope it doesn't happen.
Yes. And we're just here to help you navigate. If you feel overwhelmed or you need clarification, just reach out to us. We will get right back to you. And as we said, we're very impressed with how the school year has opened up for us. The kids have been wonderful. They seem very happy. We're enjoying teaching them in their setting that works for them. We're looking forward to a great year.
Ditto. Yes, we'll work together and see how things are going. And if you have any questions, just reach out. We're here for you. See you real soon. All right, it should be fine.